I have been making an extra $1,000 to $1,300 a month for the past few months as a virtual assistant. And in today's video, I'm going to tell you exactly how I do that. So I have two virtual assistant clients right now. One is on retainer and they pay me $300 a month. And then the second one, I'm paid hourly and they pay me $30 an hour. And I try to work anywhere from 8 to 10 hours a week with that client. Now, it's important to realize this is a side hustle for me. I cannot pay all of my bills from $1,000 to $1,300 a month. My main job is this as a YouTuber. I say all that to say those are my numbers because from the beginning this was a side hustle for me, but it's possible to charge way more as a virtual assistant if you want it to be your main source of income. So let me show you the math. Client number one, that is $300 per month guaranteed. Client number two, that's $30 per hour. And like I said before, I try to do between 8 and 10 hours per week, but let's just say 9 hours for easy math. So that is $270 per week, which means times 4, that is $1,080 per month. So 300 plus 1080 gives me $1,380 per month. Of course, that is dependent on me hitting the hourly goal with that client. A lot of times it depends on what they need. So there have been times when I haven't hit that exactly, but that's what I'm shooting for. And it's possible for me to get that every month. And it's important to note that all of that is before taxes. So that's pre-tax money. But anyway, so this formula combines the stability of having a client that's on retainer and then the flexibility that comes with hourly work. But it's important to know that because I get paid differently with these clients, that means I manage them differently. So for my hourly client, I commit to certain times of the day. I'm still trying to figure out like which actual day that I want to pick every week, but whatever day I pick that week, I shut everything down. I don't focus on anything else. And I'm just like, this is what I'm doing. And I just knock out like whatever work I need to do. And for my retainer client, it's a bit different because with them, I do a lot of client communications. So I answer emails, I answer phone calls, I handle their profiles within our like software that we use to book people for a class. Like I have to go in and handle like different technical issues that can happen there. So a lot of the work that I do for them outside of the newsletter, but everything else that I do is really more so like being on call in a way. So it's more of an ongoing type of responsibility versus just blocking out time during the week. And so since it's different type of work as well as a different pricing strategy, it's really important to have clear boundaries with these clients. So the retainer client where I'm doing all of their email management for all of our like communications that go out to different clients and customers, we've talked about having a 24-hour buffer or a 24-hour window on business days of, hey, if this email came in on Tuesday at 12:02 p.m., then I would have until Wednesday at 12:02 p.m. to answer back. But if a client sends an email at 8 p.m. on a Friday, well, they can respect or they can expect a response by Monday at or before 8 p.m. But they should not expect me to respond back on a Saturday because boundaries. And the hourly client, like it's still new with them. Like I only started working with them back in November. So we're still trying to figure out like the cadence or rhythm, I guess you can say, between the two of us working together. But with them, I still want to just have like focused days and time of the day that I'm working on it. And by having your own system for how you're going to work and then communicating that system to your clients, that will stop the scope of your work from slowly creeping up. Like at the beginning, y'all may have talked about like these are the things that we're going to do, but as time goes on, maybe they trickle in more responsibilities and you got to be like, hey, we talked about doing this. We didn't say anything about doing that. So that's why it's important to have these conversations up front. Now, I want to be very transparent with you. I would not recommend having an hourly rate, and I'm going to tell you why. So the better you get at something, the faster you can do it. And if you're being paid hourly, the faster you complete a task, then that means the less money you're going to make. Instead, you should be charging based on the value that you bring combined with your level of experience or your level of expertise. And that's why having like a package price or a set price for a certain task or a certain project is so much better if you have so much experience or so much expertise that you're able to do something very quickly and very effectively. So I'll use myself for an example. For my clients, I write weekly newsletters for them. If I get so good at doing it that it takes me 30 minutes to do it, and the reason it can take me 30 minutes is because I've been doing it for almost 2 years at this point. Should I get paid based on the fact that all I spent was 30 minutes doing it? Or should I get paid based on the reason I can do it in 30 minutes versus somebody else not being able to do it in 30 minutes is because I have 2 years of experience? Let me run some numbers for you. So if there are 1,500 people on a business's newsletter, and out of that 1,500 people, 23 of them click a link to buy a product or service, and that costs $50, that means that potentially, because not all 23 of them will probably buy just because they clicked the link, but if 23 of them just click the link, that's potentially $1,150 that the business could make based on a newsletter that I wrote. That is valuable. So no, it shouldn't matter if it took me 30 minutes to write it or if it took me 3 hours to write it. It doesn't matter because I am directly responsible for putting money into a business's bank account. That was a lesson that I had to learn the hard way, which is why I wanted to create a comprehensive ebook that can teach you how to become a virtual assistant within a 30-day timeline. It covers everything from how to price yourself, how to find your first client, how to set boundaries with those clients so that you maintain like good relationships with everyone. And if you're interested in that, the link to it is in my description box. So if I want to make more than $1,300 a month, how can I do that? Well, there are a few ways that I can go about it. One is increasing my rates, or I can transition to, instead of hourly, I can just have a retainer price. Or 3, I can get more clients. So let's talk about that whole getting more clients part. I do believe I am at my capacity when it comes to clients. I currently have 2, but then I also am a full-time YouTuber, so I really should track like how many hours per week I work, because full-time content creators, like that's more than 40 hours a week in and of itself. And then with the virtual assistant, that's like another 40 hours per month that I'm doing. So it's a lot. Right now, I'm working like every single day. I don't want to do that for forever. I do not think that is sustainable. So I definitely don't want to do that for forever. And I'm still trying, like I said, I'm still trying to figure out like my balance, like what days will be dedicated to what things. But yeah, in the meantime, it's a lot to manage all 3 things, 2 clients and full-time content creation. So yeah, I do not want to get another client at this point in time, but I will let y'all know if that ever changes. I'll let you know, but for now, just the 2 is good. So that leaves us with the other things that I said, increasing my rates or switching to just retainer prices. Now for my hourly client, I do plan on proposing a package deal to that client. And like I said, I just started working with them back in November, and it's typical to increase your rates anywhere from 6 to 12 months after working with someone. So that means around May, I'm going to have a conversation with the client, and I'm going to talk about changing my rates. in changing from hourly to package, because honestly, I probably never should have done hourly. I think like even when I started working with them, I had enough experience to not do it hourly. So that, hey, that's a mistake on my part. Yeah, I just, as I started doing the work, I'm like, I messed up. I should have charged differently. But one advantage I think for both of us, if we go to the retainer or package pricing, that will give both of us a predictable cost, and well, a predictable cost for them and then predictable income for me. Because right now, like if the hours fluctuate, it's hard for them as a business owner to know how much they will have to pay me every month. Just like it's hard for me to know how much exactly I'll make every month. But if we switch to the retainer pricing or package pricing, then both of us will know exactly this. I'll know how much I'm going to make, and they'll know how much they'll have to pay. Another thing you should take away from this is that this is not passive income, okay? I actively work for this money. However, this money is the one source of income that I have that is stable, predictable, and consistent. Being a full-time content creator sounds very glamorous. However, it's unstable. It's not easy to predict how much you will make being a full-time content creator if all you're doing is depending on ad revenue and what brand deals you can get. Yes, it's possible to make a lot of money. However, there can be months where you make a lot of money and then months where you don't make a lot of money. So what do you do in the meantime if it's a month where you're not making a lot? That's why I like having this side hustle of being a virtual assistant, because at least there's one thing that I can count on. I know that they're going to send me the same amount of money the first of the month, and then I know that for client number 2, however many hours I put in with her, she will pay for that. So with content creation, it doesn't matter how many hours I put in on a video. If that video doesn't perform well, then I don't make money off of it. And it's also nice having both the content creation and virtual assistant work, because they kind of play off of each other, and because I do one thing, it makes me better at doing the other thing. So like writing the newsletters, I write newsletters for both of my clients, and I started doing that for them first, and then I was like, I should have a newsletter for myself. And because I already know how to write them for them, it was easy for me to start writing them for myself. Let me know in the comments if you have any other questions about getting started as a virtual assistant, anything that I didn't cover in this video that you'd like to know about. Maybe I can make another video in the future. So let me know if you found this video to be helpful. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And after you give the video a thumbs up, please hit that subscribe button. We are trying to reach 100,000 subscribers this year. I talk about personal finance and financial transparency, as well as different ways of making money online. So if you enjoy that type of content, make sure you are subscribed. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.